Hey, YouTube family, and welcome to another video of The Kevin Strong Show. And in this video, we're going to talk about the decay of Portland, Oregon. I came across a video. It's kind of going back in history a little bit when the George Floyd thing kind of popped off, but it basically paints a very clear picture in retrospect to where our country is going. If you're new to my content, smash that like button, subscribe, hit the bell notification so you are notified when I do release my video, which is typically once a week. Saturdays, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So I thought this was very interesting because, as I have talked about before, what we're seeing in this country is a decay, right? The system is broken. I talked about the healthcare system last week. There's civil unrest. There's just so much uncertainty, a lack of civility that's just not in our society anymore. And in my humble opinion, it's going to get worse before it gets better. So we're going to go ahead and jump over to this YouTube thing. I'm going to share some things that a lot of you probably weren't aware of that happened in Portland. I just did some research and found out from 2020 to 2022, obviously Portland's population has declined by 3%. That is the sixth largest decline when you compare it to other major large metropolitan cities in the United States. What are the reasons or some of the main reasons why people have decided to leave Portland? Safety and police cuts. Who would have thunk it? And the crime rate, 66 per thousand, is based on one of the highest crime rates in the United States based on population count. So very interesting video. I have some editorials that I want to share with you throughout this video, and stick to the end. I told you guys that I'm kind of looking at Thailand as on the short list. There's an island called Koh Samui. Very beautiful island surrounded obviously by water. And I'm going to show you what you can get for a nice house you can rent in a very nice area and what that compares to the United States. So once again, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this video here. Let me see here, set this up. All right, there we go. Okay. And let me switch this over.
But I've seen this video. I think I've talked about it before even. You've seen this video. This guy gets the absolute shit kicked out of him when he's just defenseless and kneeling on the ground. The reason this happened is because a man crashed his car trying to avoid rioters, and the rioters yanked him from his car and beat him unconscious. More scenes of violence and theft tonight in downtown Portland involving the BLM protesters. Same thing, I'm not showing this video. It's a bunch of BLM guys kicking the shit out of a homeless person. The homeless person appears to be a trans woman, and they steal all of her stuff. Another guy steps in.
Okay, so you see how you guys aren't hearing this shit? A transgender woman is being physically assaulted. So this has nothing to do with all of this LB. I don't even know the damn alphabets. But my point is that this is an assault on humanity. This has nothing to do with your sexual orientation, to a larger degree, sometimes your political affiliation. These are just degenerates that don't have a functional purpose in life. And as a result, they bring dismay, anarchy, and lawlessness, not only in Portland, but this is permeating throughout our society in the United States.
This guy in the blue shirt trying to defuse the situation, and he ends up beaten and kicked unconscious. The mainstream media tried to downplay his victimization by pointing out that he had posted an anti-George Floyd meme on social media. Antifa vandalized a new courthouse, which cost millions of dollars to build. Antifa repeatedly attacked a bio cleanup business.
Okay, so even if he did post something that he didn't agree with George Floyd, notice how the media conveniently went over the fact that why was this innocent transgender woman brutally attacked? They didn't talk about that. They deflected.
Since the city contracts them to clean up the filth left behind by Portland's homeless encampments. Antifa marches into Portland suburbs to bring the protest to the normies, understanding that trashing their own downtown is basically like shitting on their own dinner. Boy, if there's one way to get the average person not on your side, it's doing shit like this.
Out of your house, into the street.
Now listen to this, out of your house into the streets. You have no freaking idea what the people who live in those homes, what their political affiliation is. Hell, some of them might even support all this bullshit that you're doing. But this is just, once again, just disrespect for people's privacy and the right to live their own lives in a peaceful manner.
Out of your
Antifa in Portland rioted outside the Portland Police Union building again. They torched the front of the building using an accelerant. They shut down the road by setting dumpsters on fire in the middle of the street. Arrested, charged, and quickly released without bail. Jonathan Taylor, 52, of Vancouver, Washington, charged with felony riot, resisting arrest, and more. Gregory Urbquart, 38.
Okay, and for those of you who live in my backyard, Seattle, this chop incident that happened when they called it the Summer of Love, just crazy, took over a precinct in downtown Seattle. Just let that marinate for a second. They took over a precinct. Why don't you go ahead and try that shit in Thailand, right? Or Malaysia, you know, which has a predominantly Muslim country and culture. Culture matters. I'm telling you folks, culture matters. And when it doesn't matter, that's the beginning of the end in our society. Now, some of you may sit there and say, oh, no, Kevin, this is hyperbole. And okay, fine. I think things are getting progressively worse than getting better. You come up with your own conclusion. I'm going to speed this up. There's something else that's just sickening that a lot of people naturally didn't know about. And I wanted to bring it to your attention about how they're treating certain criminals, and not so much how they're treating certain criminals, but what these folks did. This is mind-blowing.
But unlike with the rest of America, it didn't stop with 2020 in Portland. They kept this shit up ever since. Here's a 2021 protest where Antifa set fire to the Apple store downtown. Okay, no big loss. Macs and iPhones kind of suck, but still. The mayor of Portland, Ted Wheeler, initially tried to play it off like, it's okay, guys, we hear you, we understand. Yes, our society truly is white supremacist. But at this point in the timeline, it's been a year since George Floyd. The rest of America has somewhat calmed the fuck down, but the Portland Revolutionary Inferno was only ramping up. Eventually, the Portland mayor had to come out and condemn the violence months and months later than he should have.
My good faith efforts at de-escalation have been met with ongoing violence and even scorn from radical Antifa and anarchists. In response,
I skipped over it, so I'm going to jump up. So the mayor, who has capitulated since then, all of a sudden he's an advocate of police because he found out that his position of just capitulating to political whims that were saying defund the police years ago. And when he seen the rapid decay in this city, he did a 360-degree turnaround, and all of a sudden he's a strong advocate for police. Now, we need retraining and all this other stuff. That goes without saying, but he did a 360-degree. So my point is that I'm gonna move up to this video where he's just out having wine, and now he's confronted with the same shit that he was supporting doing all this protest stuff when it happened. And I'm going to go back in the video and see if I can find it to talk about these two individuals that did this sick crime and how they treated them in the justice system. So let me see if I can find here when the mayor's out having a glass of wine. Here we go.
I think you're a disgrace. I think that everybody in this fucking city thinks that you're fucking pathetic, Tevis. How dare you do sweeps while people are still on the streets? How dare you? Do not touch me. How dare you? Then you are ashamed, Tevis. You think that we're going to forget about you? We're never going to forget you, Tevis. Ever. Ever. I hope you enjoyed your little wine. You're fucked, Tevis. Start doing your fucking job. Don't talk about it. None of that. Do it. Put it in. Tevis, none of that matters. None of that matters. What matters? You know what matters, Tevis? What matters? You need to grow up, Ted. Are you joking me? The only fucking problem that we're having here is that you are an incompetent mayor. You have done nothing in the city for whatever fucking son. Kiss my ass.
Okay. So, hey, you get what you give in life sometimes, right? It's funny how people have theoretical values and then there's practical values. Now, this is Kevin Strong speaking. Theoretical values and practical values. A lot of people have interesting conversations and debates in a theory, in a vacuum. But when you put that shit to practicality and practice, most people don't practice the words that come out of their mouth. So I found this part here. Let me see. This is 14. Look what these two degenerates did. It will be mind-blowing. Let me start about right there. Here we go.
And the Democrats still think they can be bargained with. By the way, this does also explain Portland's easy on crime stance. And I don't just mean how the revolutionaries keep getting slapped on the wrist and released with no follow-up. I also mean how, for example, a 22-year-old man was able to enter into a sexual relationship with a 16-year-old girl, get her hooked on all sorts of drugs in a tent city, and he was able to argue his case down to no jail time because of the progressive stance towards the homeless and drug use. Or how one of the 2020 rioters who threatened to shoot at officers with his AR-15 got a slap on the wrist for it, released, and then went on to kill his child in 2023.
He shot at a police officer. He killed his child after he got released for shooting at law enforcement, which is the first line of defense for civility and against domestic violence. When I mean domestic violence, I don't mean in the true sense of traditionally a man and a female relationship, just domestic issues at large, right? Police typically is your first line of defense. It's not the military, it's not the army, it's not the National Guard, it's law enforcement, it's local law enforcement. So this guy clearly has demonstrated no respect for the first line of defense, gets released, and guess what he does? Takes an innocent life.
Or how a Portland DUI suspect who killed an 11-year-old boy was released without bail. There's a common philosophy on the left that criminals are not truly responsible for their crimes. They're a product of their material conditions, and as such, society is responsible, not them. By this logic, they would not have been criminals if their situation were different. And so the solution isn't to punish them for their behavior, but to improve their situation so that they don't have to act this way anymore.
Okay. So you guys get the gist of this stuff. I mean, you just cannot make this crap up. This is sickening. Like I said, I talk to people all the time about what happened when they took over the Seattle precinct. Everybody's seeing on the news, you're getting these flash mobs that are coming to all of these stores, high-end, low-end, Walmart, convenience stores, all over the place that are robbing. Okay? These people don't have a purpose in life. They're frustrated, and they're not being held accountable. And as a result of that, we're actually empowering them and losing the social fabric that made this country so great. So I'm going to get ready to wrap this video up. I'm going to slide over and see if I can pull up this place I told you, Koh Samui, which is on an island, the second biggest island in Thailand. And this is a really, really nice house. I'm going to give you some quick pictures and tell you what the price is to rent this place based on US dollars. So let's see here. Stop sharing. Let's see here. Okay, so here's the front of the house. I'm going to kind of slide through this real quick. Living room area, very spacious. I know I sound like a typical real estate agent. Hey, would you like to make an offer today? Bedroom, nice decor, right? Nice entertainment room, bathroom. I'm kind of go through this kind of quick and because I'm going to get ready to wrap this video up. Kitchen's kind of small, but hey, keep in mind, this is on an island, probably 2-3 minutes from the beach. Okay, that seems like that repeats itself. All right. $998, $1,000 US dollars, and that includes twice a month maid service. So, hey, like I said, it's on my short list. It's not the place, but it's definitely on my short list. So getting back to the original video, Portland is decaying. We're seeing some things happen here in Seattle. We're seeing some things happen throughout the country. Please, please, please take care of yourself. Understand that the system is broken. Our healthcare system is broken. A lot of third world countries that we thought were just full of shit and were communists are starting to grow and prosper. And it seems like we're taking a significant step back to what they used to be. So I'll leave you with my famous quote: keep your credit score up and your debt down. This was the Kevin Strong Show. Please hit that like button before clicking off the video. Hit the bell notification so you are notified when I do release my videos, which is typically once a week on Saturday, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. This was the Kevin Strong Show. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you in my next one.